I need an agenda.
Me too.
Can I have?
They're all right there.
Oh, sorry. Can I stop the meeting?
No,
just
leave it.
Where are they, right here?
That's highway. Can I get one too?
Sorry, I didn't know they weren't.
Thank you, we're good. Mr. Hyde, we go.
Okay. Call this meeting to
What is
order.
this? Oh, minutes.
Health and Emergency Services Committee. It is the 5 p.m. meeting, but we're at 6:03 on the 6th of January, 2025. And Eric, would you like to lead us in prayer?
I apologize, I'm taking notes still from
Okay,
the
okay.
switch over, if you don't
Okay.
mind me passing on
Commissioner
that.
Harris, you want to lead us in prayer?
Sure. Heavenly Father, Lord, we just come to you, Lord, giving you all the praise, honor, and glory, Lord, knowing, Lord, that you and you alone are the one and only true living God, Lord. We pray, Heavenly Father, Lord, that you just be with us as we conduct business for this county. We pray, Lord, that you just give us the things to say that would be pleasing unto you, Lord. These things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Okay, before we do the approval agenda, without objection, I'd just like to add, it was requested from the last committee that we add this, the folks that are out here to speak, just add the traffic safety issues for Hunter's Lane and Latimer Lane, that kind of area, Wolfpack Way, just be added to this agenda without objection.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I don't, what did the highway committee do with that?
We passed it on, and Commissioner Harrison said that he'd like to see this before the Health and Emergency Service Committee, so I said I'd add
So
it.
why would that be treated any different than not going to full commission on the floor?
It is going to full commission, but
But why would it have to come through another committee, I guess is my
Yeah.
question. We've never done that before.
I can answer.
okay, good.
The reason why was because there was multiple issues, and one of them was they deemed it a life safety issue, and they said there's no enforcement mechanism the highway could do anything about. So out of here, we could do a request for the sheriff's department to enforce the safety issue and the legality of the people parking in the turn lane that shouldn't be parked in the turn lane in the middle of the road. And so that problem could be handled immediately, while the bigger problem could be researched in Board of Education after the full commission looks at it. But we're waiting 3-4 weeks on that versus getting a sheriff's employee out there to start writing tickets and getting people out of the lane.
Yeah.
So I guess,
That's
Mr.
why.
Chairman, my question is why is this any different than Westmoreland that we've had complaints on, North Sumner that we've had complaints on? It's not came through this committee as far as I know of.
It's way
all
different.
went through.
Yeah, I think it is a very different issue, because the thing is the other spots that have those issues of like traffic and things like that, of that nature, then this is not a traffic issue only like about just congestion. It's just that they're actually using the wrong lane. And so therefore I'm gonna tell you about something that we did in the past committee meeting, unless you were here already, but we're gonna talk about the way that we did there's a resolution that was passed forward from Highway, and we're just gonna talk about it and just see if there's anything we wanna add to it when it goes forward, is all it is. Just to let the folks have a voice.
Mr. Chairman, if I can just keep it short, it's about people being illegally parked in the middle of a road.
Yeah.
And we can't enforce that in
discuss
highway,
that?
but we
Why would we
can
not
talk about it
enforce
in
it?
HMS.
Do we need to vote?
It's not been brought to anybody's attention in the legal part.
Without objection.
So that's what we wanted to educate people on in this, and hopefully it'll be quicker than, we're not looking for solutions. It's a request to
And
fix the legal and the safety part.
And to be fair, it seems like we may have objections, so just we'll put it to a vote.
I was just asking questions for clarity, Mr. Chairman. I'm not sure how I'm gonna vote.
Okay. Well, then, with there being a possibility of objection, I just want to make sure it's fair and transparent. So just put that safety issue of folks parking in the middle of the turn lane and the road, whether or not we can put this on the agenda and let it be discussed or not. All in favor? Or I'm gonna make a motion
I'll
that we add it.
second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Sure.
All opposed? Okay. Okay, it passes. Thank you.
So that's item C under new business.
Yeah, put it under, you can put it under report of the chairman.
Can we not move it up on the agenda?
Yeah, let's put it under report of the chairman.
Okay.
That's the highest it can go.
Good idea.
Mr. Chairman, if I can, just so I got clarity, legal, I guess I've got a question for legal. If another committee has already approved this, that we don't even have any jurisdiction over, is there anything we can do different?
Well,
Yeah.
you can answer if you want to.
I'm just confused of where we're going.
My comment in highway was that this does touch on highway. However, the safety concerns that kept being brought up were going to end up being sheriff department issues. And Commissioner Harrison was trying to get this moved to HEMS. And I also stated that since there was some sheriff's overlap on this, that I think it was worthy of sending to HEMS as well, so that they were aware and would have better communication with the sheriff's department as far as any reporting or anything you'd like to ask for them. What might be pertinent to the situation, so that's how it ended up here. And so we would, at the end of the day, if this thing passed here, we'd either have two resolutions going up at commission, or if they can mirror each other, one can be pulled and the other one go through. There's several different ways this could go through. And yes, this is an unusual way to do this, but it was the commissioner's issue with the sheriff's department that brought it up as possibly being an HEMS issue.
And just to bring us back in order, we passed that to be on the agenda, added to the agenda, so then now we need to, just so we know, we're bringing forth the full agenda now. So,
Motion to approve.
second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, all opposed? All right, we'll go straight to approval of the minutes from last
moved.
time. Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Report of the, recognition of the Republic. Well, I'm gonna call forward Mike. And would you mind coming up? I'm gonna go ahead and set a timer, y'all, because we're gonna do 5 minutes max. If you would say, and if you would state your name and your address, if you don't mind, each one of y'all, please.
Mike McClard, 102 Tioga Trail. We live in the Trail subdivision, which is adjacent to the Liberty Creek schools. Our normal in and out is out of the trails, down Hunters, and then going up Hunters up the ladder. What has happened is due to several things. One, I think, is poor planning, but whatever caused it, what the situation we have is during pickup and drop off, we have cars coming in off of Long Hollow Pike to Latimer Lane down Hunters. They line up in the turn lane once they get on the Wolfpack. That lines up directly with our little 4-car turn lane to turn up, continue on up Hunters. Well, when that fills up, it's worse in the afternoons than it is in the evening. When that fills up, they come right across into the turn lane, and then they go right up the road. And we have counted as many as 22 cars going up that hill. This is going up a hill. You got a blind hill up there. You got people that's crossing that hill, and there sits cars. My wife and I went down there at 1:55, 22 cars backed up the hill, almost to the top. There were pictures here with some earlier people that were here that spoke that shows all the way to the top. I mean, they're blocking a turn lane and they're blocking the main road. There's no way to get in and out of there unless you move over into oncoming traffic to go up, to turn, to go home. I mean, we can't even get to our homes. Now, one of the commissioners in another meeting pointed out, well, it's only a little while and it happens everywhere. Well, it does happen everywhere, but we have no choice. Most of the other schools, if you go look, when they line up out on the road, they can get off to the side. We don't have a side. You're in a ditch. So we have no way to get off. Those cars trying to get in have no way to get in. The only way to solve it is to bring them in the other way, which is the school board's gonna have to do something with the principal. The principal will allow them on the school till 2 o'clock, and that just backs up. People start lining up there about 1:15. So all the way to 2, they just back up. So, you know, you've got kids that are coming up the hill, that are getting out of the high school, flying up that hill. There's probably nothing you can do about the speed, it's at 35. So that's probably as best you're gonna get. But they don't obey the school, the laws. And I mean, I don't want any police officer to have to stand out there every day, but I'm not sure that's the only way it's gonna be solved. Education is great, you can tell them, but if it amounts to, I can come in Latimer and I can sit in this little lane here, or I can go down to Upper Station and sit in that line there. Well, I'm on this side of town, so I'm gonna come this way. And that's where they line up. They line right up the hill. We've been there almost 40 years. And until the school system built, there's never been a traffic issue. Now there's traffic issues at that intersection. There's traffic issues at Hunter and Latimer. And then there's also traffic issues along Hunter Pike and Latimer. I understand that, according to Mr. Ellis, the state is looking at putting a traffic light in there, but the one at Old Drakes Creek Road and everything's been in the planning stage for 10 years. And it's still 2 years away. So I don't think that's gonna be a help. But something really needs to be done even if it requires, I know the sheriff, he and I have talked about it, and, you know, it's a manpower situation with him. But, you know, if you got a commissioner saying, well, it's only a little while, well, it's only a little while. So have him out there. But, you know, still, somebody's gonna get hurt or killed. And I hope it's not a teenager. Thank you.
Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Tammy Kimbrough?
I'm Tammy Kimbrough. I live at 137 Hunters Lane, and I'm at the top of the hill. I put in a 50-foot driveway so the mailman could, you know, get out of the way. And I thought maybe I could do that as well, but because the traffic is so bad and because all that backs up, they put in a rumble strip on one side coming up the hill, but now the people from the school go around the rumble strip and come up the hill, which there's not enough distance there for that. Even if you thought you could see somebody coming from the other side, there's no way to get out of the way. And they're doing that. And then what happens is when they get to the top of the hill and they're going too fast, they come over in my driveway in that 50 foot. If I happen to be standing there at the mailbox, I've almost gotten hit twice. One time I actually thought I was hit, and one of my neighbors said, well, if you fell through the mailboxes, you landed on that cactus. I said, yes, I did. That wasn't a lot of fun. My thing is, we've lived in that house because we built our house behind our grandparents at 135. And then when they got elderly, we sold that house and I took care of them till they passed. But we had no trouble. We had quiet neighborhoods. We didn't have any trouble with there's always somebody gonna speed down on the street. But this is beyond anything safe. And I hope nobody else gets killed, but I hope I don't get killed. I mean, that's a very real scenario. I've increased my life insurance. I mean, that's kind of crazy that I've increased my life insurance, and I've put some things in place, and I'm talking to Mr. Ellis about trying to move my driveway just because somebody decided to put a school in down the neighborhood. I mean, it's something to think about.
Thank you very much, Tammy. Sue, would you mind coming forward and stating your name and address? You can stand there too, Nick.
Thank you. I'm Sue Lammers. I live at 256 Hunters Lane. It is on the same side of Hunters as the Liberty Creeks complex is, 2 doors down. They took out the trees, so now I hear the children playing, I hear the bands practicing. It's all okay, not a problem. The problem is, here's a picture of Hunter's Lane one afternoon from Latimer, looking back toward the school. It's wall-to-wall traffic. I have other pictures that show trying to get out onto Long Hollow from Latimer. It's next to impossible. So I'm going to address a couple of places. Wolfpack Way needs a stop sign before it enters onto Long Hollow Pike at the curve. People tear up that hill coming out of Wolfpack, and they don't care if you're turning left. They don't care if you're walking your dogs, and there are several people who still walk their dogs out on our little 2-lane country road, and they take up a good half of one of the lanes. It doesn't matter. There's also somebody who rides a motorcycle, usually in the later evening, and that person is doing 75 or better. We always tease he's an organ donor waiting to happen. We have a problem getting out from Latimer, or from Hunter's Lane onto Long Hollow, out to Latimer, because of all the traffic coming from the White House direction, coming from the beach, trying to get out, avoid the beach, Long Hollow intersection. We have trouble with, there's, like you saw, the long line traffic all trying to turn left. Then we get down to, I don't know what to do there except enlarge the lanes and put in a turn lane. Then we get down to the Long Hollow, Latimer Lane intersection. It has to have a traffic light put up. Mr. Ellis has assured me that the state is going to be putting one up. He's going to let me know about the timetable on that. When we moved here in '95, there was a security light, street light, at the intersection of Long Hollow and Latimer. It would allow you to turn left. It is a backhanded turn if you're coming from Beach, going toward Gallatin, and you're going to turn into Long Hollow. It is a literal backhanded turn. We've now got reflectors on the guardrail that help to judge the turn. It's a big, major safety issue. I was almost killed there a couple months ago, about 6 weeks ago. Every single first responder that came to me told me that I was lucky I had survived that crash. The person that hit me, there were no skid marks on the road. He was far enough down the road that I did not worry about gunning myself across that left turn. I was making a left turn. He was far enough down the road I should have been able to, so he, on Long Hollow, was speeding, doing more than the 50-mile-an-hour speed limit. There's and I've talked to Mr. Ellis about this, there's a little pothole that you have to slow down to hit. I knew it was there. I was prepared I was slowing down to hit it so I could not get hit or not tear up my car. Well, my car got torn up. It's totaled. I'm lucky to be alive. I'm grateful that I can stand here and tell you that please do something about these issues. These are safety issues. In order to turn at the Wolfpack Hunter's Lane intersection, in order to turn left during school drop-off or pick-up, you have to get into the oncoming lane to turn, or you have to sit there until they start moving cars, which is after 2 o'clock, because the school principal will not allow cars onto her property until 2. Something has got to be done before somebody gets killed, either at that intersection, Long Hollow, or Latimer and Hunters. Please, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I couldn't see. Miss Kathy, you mind coming?
I'm going to use this as a podium, so give me a second. A little bit of a handout.
Would you please put your name and your
Yes.
address?
My name is Kathy Arland. I live at 231 Chipaway Drive in Gallatin, Tennessee. If you could pass this around, please. Let's tell a story about the dog in that picture. That dog's name is Bear. Please take a really good look at him. The shelter I volunteer with received a phone call on 12/31 from a woman in Gallatin with
Mr. Chairman.
absolute desperation in her voice.
1 second.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, what's going on, guys?
Trying to figure out if this is on the agenda or what's this related to.
What are you speaking
I'm speaking to animal control.
to? Oh, you need something.
And I imagine the public is still allowed to do that, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I, as the chairman. I didn't
Yes.
think
I'm
it was on
asking
the agenda.
whoever.
Yes, so it is on the agenda because we, remember last time we spoke, just to clarify for anyone that wasn't here, about if there's anything on animal welfare, what is it called?
Falls
Animal
under
control,
report
sorry.
of the sheriff's department.
Yeah, it's part of the report. And then also like if there's anything on jail or anything like that, it'd be the same thing.
Can I have my time back?
So, that's why I paused it.
Thank you. So please take a good look at Bear. The shelter I volunteered with received a phone call on 12/31 from a woman in Gallatin with absolute desperation in her voice. She was elderly, she was disabled, she was being evicted, she had no car, her daughter had dumped her grandsons, kids, and dogs and left. She had no internet or cell phone, only a landline. She had no money and no dog food. She was told by animal control that there was a 6-month wait for owner surrenders. She begged for help with 5 dogs, including Bear. We called Gallatin Animal Control, and he said he had only another hour on his shift and he'd get over there if he could. It was getting cold. The next day I tried to reach Captain McCoy. He apparently doesn't have a voicemail. So that call went unanswered. This phone call haunted me. I take lots of calls and always try to present options. Most are irresponsible people with less desperate situations, and sometimes you can get through to them with ideas or convince them to take better actions than surrendering or abandonment. But there are situations where you have no doubt an animal's life is at stake and you must act quickly. I ended up going myself on New Year's Day and saw the conditions, which I expected based on the call, that this dog was living in. I took them dog food and blankets to get through the day. And now I'd like to address the ad hoc situation. For those of you that don't know, we had an animal control ad hoc committee established in November of 2023. Thank you to the members here that were on it. And this was to address historic and ongoing problems at animal control. That list of problems is unfortunately long. When we started down this road in August of 2023, now Sheriff Craddock advised that he saw no reason for it. And the ad hoc proved that there were many reasons. Minor things that shouldn't have been problems, like updating Facebook and Pet Finder, were marginally improved. But information that we requested was exceptionally slow at coming, and we felt like we were being filibustered. Moving forward, on 3 different occasions in 2024, we heard rumors that some on this committee were trying to dissolve the ad hoc. 3 times we brought out the public in numbers to push back. On one occasion, I personally received a phone call stating that we were disseminating disinformation in social media posts, and that there was no intent to dissolve the ad hoc. That time the meeting was canceled, allegedly because it was Labor Day. The 3rd time this body voted on a 6-month extension, thank you, Commissioner Wright. Then once we thought it was safe, the very next month, when the citizens weren't represented because we thought we had 6 more months as approved, someone found a 12-month loophole, and the ad hoc was immediately dissolved. I believe that this was intentional, and it sure seems that it was. So we are now told that the only way we continue our work is to have a new purpose and a different ad hoc. So this is our new purpose. Animal care in Sumner County needs to be put into the hands of professional animal care management, not law enforcement agents. Hear me, we still need animal control officers for cruelty, animals at large, vicious animals, but that charge should end at the shelter door. The budget of Sumner County Animal Control is distorted. It's mostly used for salaries and promotions. For the same budget, we could have a manager, kennel attendants, clerical help, a website that is divorced from the compliance requirements of the Sheriff's Department, and most likely a veterinarian, and an environment where inmates are not needed and people and volunteers could feel comfortable entering the facility, which brings me to my next point. Pass these out. Inmate labor does not work. This handout just happened. It's from the county that I actually used to live in Ohio. They've gone back and forth using inmates several times. It never works, and in this case, they were smuggling drugs into the jail. Go figure, and we know that's happened here before too. along with other things that are even worse. And we could go into those, but I don't have that kind of time. So it carries unacceptable costs and risks to the inmates, the animals, and the taxpayers. More on that later. We need to establish an ad hoc committee to guide a process to begin the planning to transition operational shelter control from the current Sheriff's Department's model to a modern protocol using professional animal care providers. This would ultimately end with a request for proposal for bids to establish a well-run animal care facility. We will not settle for less, and we will make this happen. Back to Bear. Our shelter found placement through 3 different organizations for these dogs during the holiday, and Bear is safe, warm, and fed tonight because we went out of our way to assist. Obviously, the same call was not handled in the same manner in animal control. We don't believe Bear would have survived the night on January 1st when we got to him. How often does animal control go above and beyond? Only if it's not a holiday, only if they feel like it. We often can't even get through on the phone. So a new ad hoc committee needs to be established to make this change. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kathy. Donna, please come forth and state your name and your address.
Well, good evening. My name is Donna DeSopo. I live at 101 Chambliss Court in Hendersonville. I wanted to show to you, I want to, first of all, thank those who listen to the citizenry for years to go by and people to say, sound the alarm, and they get not listened to by a governing body that's supposed to do its job and listen to the people, because the people instruct our elected officials under our Tennessee State Constitution, Article 1, Section 23, which when you get a packet, you can send them out. I have a few things that are going to be in that packet. One is Article 1, Section 23 of our state constitution, that the citizens have the right in our state to instruct our elected officials. That's our job. The government doesn't exist but through the will of the people. I'm also going to give to you another law, and the law of animal control resides with the state legislature. That's you all. You're the governing bodies. You are the state legislature. It does not reside with the Sheriff's Department. I'm going to show you guys, and I want to thankfully be on this committee, because it was very much needed. It should have been done a long time ago, in my opinion. And I can love people, I can like people, you know, but I have to do a job, and the job is to establish best practices. When you look at abysmal data of 50 to 70% euthanization rates and thousands of animals have died needlessly, it is beyond heart-wrenching and heartbreaking. And I'm in a private sector, and I'll tell you one thing, nobody needs to tell me what to do when something's wrong to fix it. We have a responsibility to fix the broken. We don't keep repeating the broken. It is an absolute necessity. Best practices should not just be here, but everywhere. And the private sector has a high standard. Well, the public sector should be higher because it's other people's money that's involved. But it's not just a money thing. This is a year's plus worth of work. I am very serious about helping. And I gather data. That's probably some of my bag because I've been in science. And I'm going to say this is what the data show. And it's abysmal. And the ad hoc should have been done a long time ago. Animals suffered, bridges were burned, partnerships fractured, so we don't have a robust spay and neuter program. You can't when you burn bridges, when you have no relationships. We don't have veterinarians that want to work with us because we had a horrific history. Our legacy has been one that is unfavorable. And frankly, I don't consent to that. The data show, and me being sitting at this very board, now I also am a president of a board. I've done a long life. And I'll tell you one thing, it was unconscionable how this board was not treated appropriately. That's my experience, and that's what the data showed too. Leadership failed to come to the table, which first off, that should never happen anywhere ever. Because when leadership doesn't come to the table, it shows a message of, we don't respect you, we don't want to listen to you. And all I kept hearing, and I call it getting gaslit, slow walked, You ask for data, but under FOIA, I would have had it in 7 days. We ask for things for a month. Protocols in writing. Every department should have a protocol in writing of who does what. What is your purview? What do you have to do? It's in the private sector. I had asked for a long time for protocol. When we got the protocol back, you know what we found out? The most highest risk, highest cost, although we were told the inmates are free, it is an absolute falsehood. They're not free. You have deputies that cost a lot of money to oversee inmates. You have all of the things that are going to be in that packet, and you can listen to my 15 minutes of what I was talking about inmates. That should not be done. It's not a best practice, never will be. The jail model is not a best practice. We are supposed to do best practice. And what we were told is, we'll let the sheriffs know, but he may or may not, do it. No. It's under your purview. That is unacceptable. You said that you're not going to do certain things. Well, so what it tells me is that either people can't do, refuse to do, and won't do, and not a single one of those pathways are proper. It's bad. So, again, what I'm going to say is that our goal was best practices. And what was troubling to me is such contention. We're trying to save animals' lives. We're trying to make sure that our dollars are used properly, but the outcome is death. Death. Okay? I take that to heart. I do not want this county to have a legacy of and a tolerance of animal or human abuse. So, I say God sees the truth but waits. And I will tell you this, you don't know this, but we have $1 million lawsuit plus levied against the sheriff's department for what? Sexual assault and abuse of an inmate going to and from animal control. None of you knew this. It's only because of serendipity that I found out, and it's been weighing heavy on my heart. You can't defend the indefensible. There is no other course but to make this a standalone department and to make it where this no longer is in their care. It has to be, and I have Dr. Pisano's emails. I've reached out to her. I've done a lot of evidence gathering, but see, that's what I'm asking. We have to have an ad hoc and a transition, and I'm echoing this too. Thank you for your time, and I hope you do the right thing.
Thank you. Thank you, Donna.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to call the last one. Hope, would you please come forward?
Hi, Hope Warnock. I live at 297 Hunters Lane. And I don't think I can add any more to the left turn lane. There is a problem with left turn lane at the end of turn of Hunters going onto Wolfpack. There's so many people that park there. I've stopped and I said, you're impeding the traffic. I've been sworn at. I've gone into the left lane hoping I'm not going to be hit because those streets are really hilly. Continuing all the way around Hunters Lane is very hilly. We have problems now for the people that don't want to wait there. I think they come up Mount Olivet and go down Hunters Lane. They speed past. Certain time of the year, Liberty Creek has track runners, and that's where they run up and down right in front of my house and all the way up to Mount Olivet. The cars are speeding. We don't have sidewalks. We have gullies, where the water is. And I'm just scared to death one of those kids is going to get hit. They're going to get killed, they're going to get hit, and something's got to be done about it. I don't know if that's just a school issue or if possibly the sheriff's department can send somebody out there or whoever. I don't know. I've talked to one of the deputies, and he said he's not sure if it's Gallatin, if it's the sheriff, but somebody needs to get out there and stop some of these people, maybe get a slower, different speed limit, some bumps, something, because I'm really nervous about those kids. Because they run, of course, 2 or 3 at a time across because they're friends. And I've seen 10 to 12 kids running up and down the street. So that's all. Hoping we can do something about that so nobody gets killed.
Thank you so much for everyone who spoke. Appreciate you making your voice heard. I'm going to go ahead and close public comment, public recognition. Report of the chairman, just on that, you're welcome to ask any questions or say anything you want to say. I'm just gonna give a quick restatement of yeah, I'll let you
So
ask.
you're gonna give the recommendation that came from
Yes.
Highway?
Yes, I'm just gonna speak on that. So, in Highway, since August of 2022, there's been an issue that's continued to come forward. And it's been kind of pushed away because it's been considered that it was a traffic flow issue at times, but then when you actually get out there and look at it and get your eyes on it, it's actually a real safety violation out there that's worrisome. And we've talked about it, and you can go back and watch the videos or asking questions, but just a real overview of it. When they put in the new school, I think everybody wanted everybody to be safe out there. I don't think there's any doubt of that. And then when they put in the new stop sign, I think they believed that would alleviate the problem. We've spoken to Marshall about it, and Superintendent Ellis has been out here and spoken with us on Highway Committee about that. But the main overview is that there's a few issues coming up where they come up, and I don't know if you guys have seen it, but what it amounts to is like you got these 2 lanes going into the school right here, and so when that happens, one of them is made for that to go straight in, and one of them is made to turn onto Hunter's Lane. But that's completely backed up, and they're going over that and crossing it and treating just 2 lanes to go into, so it's completely blocking that curve. So aside from the annoyance of traffic, that's a whole different issue. But that, I don't know how much we can do about that. I just know that part of that being blocked off from emergency vehicles, from anything else, it just seems like that would be the biggest worry for me. And then if there were an emergency, God forbid, at the school even, or any of those houses, then they couldn't get to it. So the recommendation of the commission, of the Highway Commission, is that we send it on to the full commission to vote on whether we just request that the school board just look at it and discuss it. We're not telling them what to do.
So
We just
moved.
discuss it, okay?
Second.
And so just to be clear, I want to just see if we can just piggyback on that and just support that with the Highway Commission. That way, whichever side it needs to come from, it comes from, you know.
Make the motion to send it in front of the commission, just like
That's what I just.
the highway department, highway committee. And if we need to, whenever it goes to full commission, we can combine both of the resolutions. But that way, if one fails, we've got another backup.
Well, if it goes with full approval, we can just say we support it. Right.
Can I ask our attorney on that? What is the most appropriate thing to do legally? Is it, because we're just suggesting, do we need to have 2 resolutions, or is it better to have 1?
I think it's better to just have one, and I think this committee could just, once
Endorse
they
it.
understand the exact terms of the motion in Highway, they can vote to support that, and then as a report at commission, both of you all can be in support of the same resolution.
Well, in that case, and I'm sorry you're in the queue, but do you have a question before, or do you want me to?
Go ahead.
So my question, would you just read back the gist of it, so I don't miss it, reinterpret it, you know?
So
what
what
we're
passed
supporting.
out of Highway was a request to ask the school board to review the safety and traffic concerns at Latimer Lane and Hunter's Lane, at Latimer's Lane and Long Hollow Pike, and Hunter's Lane and Wolfpack Way, to include having the engineer revisit road layout to include safety concerns and illegal traffic patterns. And all of this is under the umbrella of the fact that the county has not accepted these roads, and we want this to be done so we can accept them and keep moving. Yeah, but that was the body of that resolution.
And it's not a demand, it's just saying, please help with.
It is a request.
It's under their request, yeah. So, did you have a question?
Yeah, I had a comment. I was on Highway when we started working on this, and we were in discussions with school system, the school board. We got nowhere. They said it wasn't their problem, it was a county problem, and that they chose not to deal with it. what I'd like to say is that when you have roads, Latimer and Hunter and all the different roads coming and going in the traffic, and I don't think it becomes a school issue now, is because those are roads. And the traffic is combined with regular traffic, not just school traffic, but there's regular citizens in the traffic. And then you have the people that are affected by the safety concern, which is a life safety issue. And so I think it's a great idea. The resolution's a great idea. But I don't, in my experience with what we have done before, we got 0 out of the school board or school system. And I believe that really actually it should be falling on the county, because that is in the county, and it is roads in the county. Those roads were not just made up. Long Pike, Hunter's Lane, Latimer Lane, all those are county roads with some additional traffic issues with the schools. So you can do what you want, but I don't think you're gonna get squashed in the school system. Slap me up if I'm wrong, but, I think it's a county problem.
Mr. Chairman.
I'm done.
Daryl's McHugh next.
Go ahead.
So I've followed something similar to this in Portland, and we've had the same issue up there. I guess it's probably going on our 3rd year now, maybe even 4, on College Street, Highway 52, and Searcy. What we may be better to do is send, and I'm not saying reinvent the wheel on this one, but we may have more teeth since Long Haul Pike is a state highway. We may be able to draft a resolution, send it to the state level, encouraging our state delegation to take a look at this, because it is a state roadway. That's what Portland did, and Portland took some of their students that was in
Long Hollow's the state.
what?
Long Hollow's the state road.
So they took some of their students that was in the business government class or something that was from Portland, took them down to the Capitol for a day on the Hill, and we now have a red light at Searcy. And we've got I think it's a 4-way stop on College Street. So, if the committee wants to, or full commission wants to, we may be better off, and kind of piggyback off what Dr. Janung says, to actually send some encouragement down to the Capitol. I don't know that that's going to work, but with Long Haul Pike being a state highway, then that's probably where we're going to get our better bite.
Very good point. Very good point.
I mean, I'm just suggesting.
I like what he said. I think this is going to be a
Not on highway.
multi-pronged approach to however we go about it. But I did want to just bring everybody up to where we got to in highway. The last communication from Director Langford, and it's been slow getting responses from him, was that he was going to have over the next few days asking parents. They're sending out communication to the parents asking them not to block the driveways during pickup and drop off. That'll go so far as to the ones that obey it, but we all know human nature. So this is multiple issues. The red light, I think we need to probably go that route and get them to maybe, they're already looking at putting the traffic light there, but maybe that will help it go faster to get it done on a project list. But the main reason for bringing it to this committee was to get the immediate problem of them blocking that turn lane with sitting and staging for school traffic, and the communication between Superintendent Ellis and Director Langford needs to happen, because all the real estate in the world is on Wolfpack Way. We got to get all the cars off of that road that they shouldn't be sitting on waiting for traffic, and getting them over there. And the solution is getting them in the parking lot or paving a section of, they got 88 acres there. They could pave a staging area for schools or whatever. But we all know this problem's going to get worse. So it's going to be a multi-pronged approach. Getting it here, it's been a year with everybody doing this with different departments on who's responsible. But the only thing we had with highway was the fact that we would not approve Wolfpack Way, since it is the problem that caused everything. Putting the traffic generator there, we do not have to approve Wolfpack Way until it is corrected. So that's how it evolved from highway to here to now hopefully Board of Education, and they do something about it.
I have one other thing I wanted to talk about, and that is actual life safety issue. And I wrote down one of the things that flipped me out, and I wrote it down, put a big exclamation mark next to it, was that people were sitting in oncoming traffic lanes and to turn. So in my head, I'm
They're
thinking,
not sitting there.
well, that's
They're
what
driving in them.
what I'm saying is that they're in oncoming traffic lane,
No, she's correct.
No, they're not
She's
sitting
correct.
in the
I'll
oncoming
clarify. I'll
traffic.
clarify. Keep talking.
and so we have another problem. We have a sheriff, police, whatever you want to call it, issue where we need to have if I drove down Lock 4 Road, for example, on the other side of the road, how long do you think it would take for Gallatin to come out and arrest me? Pretty fast, because people would be going, there's some crazy woman out there driving in the wrong road. So these people are doing this, and they're going to kill someone, vice versa. And so we have not only this, but we have behavior of people that is putting other people at risk. So that becomes a sheriff, police. So I would ask that the sheriff in our county take it, and I would request this to him, to take us on and look at what's happening and say, hey, let's take a look at this, because this is serious. And if one life is not worth a death, for this. So I'm asking that the sheriff also take a really good look at what's happening in that area and kind of put his people on the dog and get this taken care of, because I'm telling you, I wrote all these things down, and they all came down to people's behaviors. They're not following the law. So I had
If
to
I
say.
could bring up a point, we're sitting here discussing and there's nothing on the table.
You got a motion and second?
We have a
The
Oh, we did?
Yeah, we did.
Which one was it?
It's to recommend it for the full commission.
Okay, so I didn't know I tabled it.
But just to clarify, because
Thank
I
you.
understand what was being said, and I'm gonna call on Daryl in just 2 seconds. But just to clarify what you were saying about the oncoming traffic. So you're correct about what you were saying.
I know what
She's
she
correct.
meant.
She's
I know what she
meaning that
meant.
they're coming across that turn lane, across that curve, and that's where
No.
a major.
Yeah, I get it. She said sitting in oncoming traffic. They're driving in oncoming traffic.
Same thing.
Because there's people sitting in their lane that shouldn't be parked in their lane. They're
Yes.
driving into oncoming traffic.
Because the people are sitting on those.
Same situation, but I want you to
Well,
let you know they're not sitting in
Wait,
oncoming traffic. They're driving in it.
Point where you're, I'm just gonna get back in the rhythm. Go ahead there.
So, Portland, same situation. The problem is that, well, what had happened was in Portland, the problem was the city wouldn't do anything on a state road. The state didn't have manpower to do things on a state road as far as school zone, school traffic, because the time the trooper would get there, it's already over, it's done, it's gone, or whatever. Sheriff's office, we heard the public's comments that say that they don't have the manpower either. However, here's the problem, is in Portland, and I keep saying that because that's what I'm familiar with in the area which I am. Portland East Middle School, they'll back up down the side of State Route 109 going south, mornings and afternoons. Does that make it right? No. But they do. They back up down the road. There's people driving in the turning lanes going to Meadowbrook Park, the church that's there, go wherever. It's crazy. That's why I'm glad we live on the back road. We got the back side. But, and then you got the luxurious semis that's skipping 40 and coming up to the state line, that complicates it even more. So, I just wanted the citizens to understand that if we go the state route, don't expect THP to be out there. We're already shorthanded at the sheriff's office, and it's not anywhere near our city limits. So, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time before we get it done. And I'm not trying to defend anybody. That's just the facts of where we're at. Portland, it took, like I said when I first started talking, it took almost 2 years before they finally got a resolution. And it was with students going to the Capitol before they got it there.
Okay, so thank you for that information. So if that's all question on this, I have another thing that I think that you brought a great point up, and I think that's a separate thing altogether. But I would like to just go ahead and see if we want to make a vote on this, because we got a motion and a second. And then after this, I'll just tell you what I'm going to do in case I'm out of order. I'm going to just recommend that we bring a resolution before the state in order that just to bring awareness to it on the other side of it. Because if we're a county road in the middle, state road, and then a school road, it's like that way we're all working together for the first time ever, because that way everybody's jurisdiction, we're all able to work. Because I don't believe there's anybody that doesn't want to help the folks. I just don't believe it. I've seen commissioners, I've seen the mayor, I've seen the director of schools, I've seen all folks, highway superintendent, everybody be out there trying to figure out, sheriff out there trying to figure out what to do. And so I think that everybody wants to do that. So just on that, I was going to recommend that we bring forth something separate to the and that would be the reason to be through this committee.
We can just add that on the floor, right?
We can add it even right now.
The agenda's already been approved. I'm sorry, I'm not.
Yeah, we can add that. It may have to be next month or whatever if we have to, but but yes. Well, has it? It's not been approved.
The agenda
has, yeah.
For the full?
For the full?
Oh,
2 weeks
what,
early?
What are we talking about here? This
I thought you were talking
agenda?
about adding it from this committee to go to full commission. This agenda's already approved. We can't add it.
I think he's
We can't
talking about
add
full
state
commission.
delegation to this.
I'm just saying that we could request it be added in the to the full commission's agenda.
That was my point, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
From the floor, yeah.
It's getting there through highway anyway.
But not for the state.
He's wanting to add state
Correct, that would be a
delegation.
completely separate resolution is
Yes.
what I'm hearing.
Yes.
So the motion and second is to support the resolution as it was described and came out of highway.
And if there's nothing else, I'm going to take a vote on that right now.
Good.
Okay, good.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, and then, so that passes unanimously to push that on and recommend it and kind of piggyback on with that highway.
I have
And
a
then-
question.
Yes.
Can we just make a non-formal, doesn't have to be a resolution or anything, just for the sheriff's department to look into that and maybe sit out there and write some tickets and tell people to get out of that lane, or is that something we can request?
Well,
It's not a resolution or something. I don't think it needs to be formal or huge deal. Just,
He's aware of it.
I'm glad it's
Heard
here.
it.
He's here. I know he's listening to us. I'm just saying it for the record. If we,
He's
is he
got
back there
you.
doing
He's got
thumbs
you.
up?
He's got you.
Gotcha. That's
got
all I
you.
need to say then. All right.
Well, he's got a report too, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. I just, while we were talking about it before we dismiss it, I just wanted to make that formal request.
And then as a second thing, because I love what Commissioner Rogers said, I'd like to have something that somewhat mirrors that other resolution that would go before the full General Assembly. And just recommends they come out and look at that long haul pipe Latimer Lane area for these folks and get something, because I know they're already planning on putting in a stoplight there eventually. But it might speed up the process if we recommend that and just request that they look at it.
Would it?
before. And so,
If we're just talking about
To the
highways,
school
we get
system.
into Commissioner Rogers' question, which is HEMS gonna be over that? So is this really a highway ask?
no, I'm not asking that we do anything highway wise. I'm just saying that for
I'm
the-
saying, does
for the life
HEMS
safety.
have the
Yeah, for life safety,
authority?
of course we do. For life safety, we have the authority to say, because health and emergency
All right.
services, that we just request that.
Okay,
that they-
I guess I'll get with you after sometime this week on, if you can give me a copy of that
Yeah.
city thing.
Of how planned.
So you wanna just make this on, it be added as a health and emergency services, agenda item next
Yes,
month?
just for the
Okay.
fact that it's life safety, I believe that's
Okay,
the perfect
that's fine,
committee for it.
that's fine.
Because highway is not really even over state roads anyway, so it really
No,
wouldn't be
Nobody
appropriate that way.
except for state legislators.
So I make that motion. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Let's get away the courthouse.
And then,
Basically adding this to be on the agenda next
um,
week with a next month with a resolution.
Gotcha.
I think that's all of my report that I have to add to that, and then we'll come back to the new business in just a little bit. Report of the county mayor. He's not here right now, but nobody's heard any report, correct?
The county
reported.
mayor did call me, and he's celebrating an anniversary, so that's why he's not here.
Oh, good deal. Well, that's awesome. We wish him a happy anniversary. Report of the sheriff. Sheriff Craig.
You all have your packets in front of you. I'll breeze through the top page. Total deposits for the month were $42,031.80. A little over 5,400 calls for service. Average daily jail population was 775, and our vacancies are listed there below. In the back of that packet is the update to the action step list that you guys asked for last month for animal control. A few of the big highlights, we had Dr. Satterley show up on January the 2nd for her first day there. We spent a lot of time walking through the old medical suite, seeing what she was going to need to get it up to her standards to come in and do everything, all the way from a wellness intake to a spay and neuter. Really, really good visit. She had some questions on the logistics and how it used to be set up, so we got with Sumner Spay and Neuter. We connected her and Sarah. That was a really good visit. I think she's made some contacts there. And then Sarah is going to come back over on the 16th when Dr. Satterley comes back, and we're going to walk through it all again. I was at Animal Control today. Every dog on the adoption floor is fully vaccinated, fully spayed and neutered. We have made huge strides. I'm not saying that there wasn't room for improvement, but we've made a ton of improvement, a ton. We are using Sumner Spay and Neuter. I checked in with Sarah probably 2 weeks ago just to make sure that was still going well. It was, so nothing to report there. I understand there are some concerns about animal control, and I'll just say it here in front of everyone. Please call me. I would love to have that phone call on the 31st to handle that issue. I don't think it's fair to you that you waited until this Monday night to talk to somebody about it. So after this, I'll get my business card and I'll give it to you. Call me. I'm happy to handle issues like that. Are there any questions?
I had a question about restarting the ad hoc committee. I understood that we could restart it. You had to stop it for the year, and then you still can restart it, you know. And so I had a question about the fact of restarting one and participation, doing like we did before. Because I felt like the last 3 meetings we had, we really were making a lot of progress. The new manner, I don't know what to call it. Captain. I thought that was working out really well. He seemed very engaged and positive, and I felt like prior to that we were, as they said, we were in a slow go mode. So I was hoping that if we could restart the ad hoc, that we would still engage with the sheriff's department like we did, and be able to kind of talk about, at least give the citizens an option to speak out and do that. I know they can call you anytime, and you've expressed that, but I think it's for them, for the citizens of the county, it's in a good way to have them come to their own meeting where they can really kind of collaborate and we can talk about the issues, and then, you know, I thought it worked out real well, but don't know how you feel about it.
Are you asking me my opinion?
Mm-hmm.
I don't support the ad hoc committee. I feel like we spent 12 months of finger pointing from people who thought things were from 4 years ago to today. I don't support it. That's my opinion.
You were first. Go ahead.
I don't believe we would have gotten the same report tonight as far as the amount of spayed and neuters had there not been an ad hoc committee. I don't believe there would be a relationship with Sarah at Sumner Spay and Neuter if there was not an ad hoc committee. I don't believe we would have a punch list of things that are getting done or the increased funding for animal control if there had not been an ad hoc committee. I got concerns about this. I don't know how to handle this. This is huge. I don't know if this is an executive session type discussion, but I want to ask all kinds of questions about this packet that we just got dropped on us in public comments. We were asked we asked several times for several months for policies on how inmates were being utilized and what the policies and procedures were for using them, and try to do a study on what was the most cost-effective way to get things done in animal control. And we were told that inmates were free and that there is no policies on inmates. So I'm very upset to see this, and I want to know more about it and what I don't know what I can say here publicly. I don't want to embarrass anybody or make a big deal about stuff, but
Moving into, well, I'll let the attorney speak to that too, but I'm not, I just learned about that tonight. And I have questions also, but I don't think this is the forum for something that could be a legal matter for the county.
This is a
to be discussing this here.
If I may.
Anything said here then could be a problem later on.
that's why I'm leaving room for somebody to interject. I was in the
I'm
middle
gonna let
of
our
talking.
attorney speak.
No, that's fine, and that's where I was going with that. I want somebody to speak up and say something, because we got to direct this in some kind of a way. But I wanted to push back on what was just said by the sheriff's department. I think the ad hoc committee did a lot of good. We accomplished very few of the goals we tried, but the few that we did were huge. I mean, he said we've made progress, but the goals were identified by the Animal Control Ad Hoc Committee. They were not identified by the Sheriff's Department. We reached out simultaneously because everybody recognized that there was a problem, and they asked because of the public pressure, we asked, and these goals were mutually agreed upon. But it was because of the formation of the Animal Control Ad Hoc Committee. That's all I got to say for now.
In regard to the ad hoc committee, let me say, I had a committee, an ad hoc committee, that had exceeded a year. And I had to disband it because the commission in their rules said an ad hoc committee would be for 1 year. And so I had to disband the committee also. So you made that rule of a year. Now, if it goes beyond a year, an ad hoc committee typically is to address a specific issue and to solve it, make a recommendation and solve it. Now, if you want to make a standing committee, the commission can do whatever they want to, but ad hoc, by your rules, says a year.
You're correct, Mr. Chairman. And
I hope so.
Well, I appreciate that, because I've learned a lot from you. But it also does state that we can form another ad hoc committee at the citizen's request.
It should be an ad hoc committee that addresses another issue, because an ad hoc committee is formed to address a specific issue and to solve it, make a recommendation within that period of time, because an ad hoc committee is just that, to advise. They don't make any resolution of the problem. We would have to do that. So you would have to do another ad hoc committee that would address another area that you need to make a recommendation on, or do a standing committee.
No.
Go ahead. If you
So-
would you share with us what you were going to say?
Yeah, as it relates to the, I only received one document, so I don't know what else is in that folder, but if it's related to the document I was provided, that is a active pending lawsuit, so that I cannot discuss anything, and any questions you have will have to be in executive session. And I would strongly encourage that nobody discuss this.
I would go. I mean, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I want to
Well,
comment on that.
let me
but
rephrase
go
that.
ahead.
I would encourage nobody to discuss it outside of executive session.
I want to comment on that, but go ahead.
I don't know, so and I just asked legal. We're kind of in a rock and a hard place as a commission. He's elected. I mean, I get it, we can make recommendations to him all day long, we can develop an ad hoc committee and send to him. he's already said he don't approve of it. So he can kick it back to us and say he's not gonna do it. I just want everybody to understand that he isn't an elected official.
He's the king of it.
So,
Hey, point of order, come on.
so I just want everybody to understand that if we do put an ad hoc committee together and send it to him and he says, I'm not willing to go back through that again, that could happen. So I just don't want to be any surprises, transparency.
I think Mr. Harris is.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that.
I'll wait.
Mr. Harris.
You were in
No,
the
go
first.
ahead. You go ahead.
So, I would like to push back respectfully to what Commissioner Rogers said. It is true that he's an elected official and we can't tell him what to do, but the whole reason why animal control is under the sheriff's purview is because we put it there. There is no standing resolution that anybody can find that says such, but it is our authority to handle animal control within the county. We can take it back, or we can try to find the resolution even harder, or if we can't find it, it doesn't exist, they have no authority. So I'm tired of hearing that narrative. There's a problem that needs to be fixed. We don't need to tiptoe around what we can and can't tell a sheriff's department to do. This is about the care of the animals and trying to do the right thing and making some suggestions, but if we're getting pushback all along the way because of a constitutionally elected officer, that's easily resolved. You take it from them and put it back under the county like the state gives us authority to do. We can't act like we can't do anything because we're going to step on their toes to do so. Now, I would like to make a motion that we go into executive session because this has a lot to do with the questions we asked during the ad hoc. I want to address them and ask more questions here at the committee tonight. But we can't do it.
No, you can't do that.
That's what I just said, thank you. We cannot do that, so I'm asking.
The attorney is not even aware of this. He hasn't even looked at it. We
Thank
cannot
you,
go
that's
into
exactly what I
executive
said, thank
session
you.
at
So,
this time until he reviews it.
you're exactly right, that's what I was gonna say. So I'm asking to go into executive session so that we can ask questions about it. If you're saying we can't do it tonight, when can we?
Y'all
Do you
just
need
added
time?
this to the agenda.
I understand,
I
it's,
haven't had a chance to look at the file or do anything.
I get it, so what do you want
I
time-wise?
guess it needs to be bumped to the next meeting and we can put it on the agenda and have an executive session.
Okay, and then we go from there and discuss what we can discuss and what we can't
Well,
discuss.
we go
that
into
time.
executive session, y'all can ask questions as long as there's no deliberation, then.
Yeah, I just wanna know that this isn't gonna fall on deaf ears from the committee, cause I read through it and it looks horrible, because I know things that were asked back in ad hoc that this answers and changes directions of things, and so I wanna have a venue to do that. I don't want it just to be not talked about and forgotten about. So if you're saying we could put it on the agenda next time and add an executive session to it, that's fine, but
Yeah.
Add that with the.
I wanna be upset, but I wanna give it time to make sure I should be upset.
I'm gonna let the good commissioner down here speak.
When the county turned over animal control to the sheriff's office, it was under certain conditions. One of the main reasons was the veterinarian that was doing the euthanasia for the county at the time got arrested for animal cruelty. Okay. Now, I've heard, let a private, somebody take over animal control. Well, that's all well and good, but who's gonna do the investigation? Who's gonna answer calls? Are you gonna have animal control officers that work for them,
You'd have
answer
to.
calls?
You'd have to.
Okay, they're not gonna be able to enforce any laws.
That's not true.
So what is that gonna fall under?
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
It happens all over America.
If you are not a certified deputy in the state of Tennessee, you cannot enforce a law. You cannot arrest someone here in this state. Am I not correct, sir?
That's where their part comes in.
Wait. Point of order. Direct your questions to me, or answers, or anything. I just don't want y'all back and forth.
Well, I don't think we should be trying to solve this. I disagree with that, just because private entities use sheriff's department to do the law part of it all the time. There's all kinds of counties all over America that do it that way. I'm not trying to solve it now. I just disagree with what he said.
Do we have any more questions for the sheriff?
You're a member of the Sheriff's Association, correct?
Yes, sir.
How many sheriffs are in that association?
95.
How many of them have inmates smuggling drugs into introduction contraband to a penal facility? Happens all the time. Even in penitentiaries, state penitentiaries, you have that problem. Folks, if it was a perfect world and nobody broke the law, I would be happy to go into nursing, okay, to help people. But that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. People are always going to break the law. We can ask people to spay and neuter. It's an educational process. You know, when you have Jim Bob that has a pit bull cross and has 2 litters a year, and he wants to surrender them to animal control, and then you have a case like what Baird, was that the animal? But there again, I think that was a Gallatin City call. If we start answering animal control calls inside the city limits, then if we turn it over to another entity and there is a criminal case inside that jurisdiction, then you're going to have that agency. If it was a Gallatin issue, then that issue needs to be taken up with the Gallatin City. That's not our problem. That is a Gallatin City problem. Does that make sense?
I understand what you're saying. Okay, so does anyone else have a question for the sheriff? Just first of all. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, there's a lot of questions.
So we're off the sheriff's report now, we're on to.
I want to just finish up one thing. I just want to make sure. So it's been said to me several times by several folks that they wish there were still more ad hoc for the animal control. And regardless of how I feel about anything, I think that we got to listen to the citizens and just talk about it together. I don't know what those answers are, because I know there's a lot of things I don't, just like I don't know how to engineer a road, I don't understand how to do the law enforcement part of it. So I think that maybe this would be an appropriate response to what you said, Mr. Chairman, is maybe, we consider adding this ad hoc back to see what is the appropriate response for this, go ahead. You can speak on it, because you have been on the ad hoc committee, and I would like to know your input on it.
I don't think this is the time right now to restart up the ad hoc committee. I think what just got dropped on us tonight, needs to be discussed, very lengthy discussion on this, because it ties into it so much. And this is more than animal concerns. This is people concerns. And once we start down the road with how we're going to deal with this, and we learn all there is to know about it, because right now there's just a bunch of words. We need, to understand it fully. Once we understand it, then we can decide, as Mr. Hyde, Chairman Hyde was stating, a new mission statement for an ad hoc committee, if we want to learn what to do with that. I don't want to form an ad hoc committee that has no real direction. Like he said, it needs to have a path, it needs to have a direction, something to address. So I think we should hold off on that until we look at this.
Okay, I love that, but just to finish what I was saying, if the citizens want input on it, I think the appropriate thing to do is just say tonight, okay, next, when we're gonna do the executive session, which has nothing to do with this, but everything to do with it, but there's a lot of other things, I think that it would be the time that the citizens would just email me or the full commission, whatever, what they would like to see on an ad hoc committee, because that would be the way they would get the best voice anyway. And then we could actually have that discussion, and then we would know next month we're going to vote on whatever that is, if there's something to vote on, and that way it's clear and it's an opportunity to say this is what some good guidelines are for the ad hoc committee, if there even is one. There may not even be a need for one, because I did like that the sheriff came forth and gave a lot of information tonight, but there's a lot of concerns I got from the citizens. So it's like, you can go ahead. Go ahead, Tim.
I was just gonna say, something I said in Highway Committee at the very beginning, so a lot of people may not have heard it. We come in here and we sit at this table and we're a committee member of this particular committee and the commission. We may work for a department. We may have friends that work for a department. We may have previous relationships with people that work for government. But we, sitting at this table, do not work for government. We work for the people. We wear a different hat when we sit at this table. It is our job to oversight government, and anybody that has a problem with that needs to resign right now. It is our job to look over what they do, and if anybody thinks you have the audacity to question somebody, they're above reproach. Guess what? Nobody in government is above reproach. You question them and trust but verify, right? You can trust them, but the verify part is the part where you hold people accountable, and you look, because they might not be doing something bad. They may be doing something where they just didn't know there was a better way. And that's what we found with the Animal Control Ad Hoc. They were operating under best procedures from a long time ago, and we helped them to find that there are new best procedures, and we're working towards that goal. But for anybody to sit here and say that who are we to question so-and-so, fill in the blank. I don't care if it's the sheriff's department. Nobody should have a problem with that. That's our job. Our job is oversight. We work for them. We don't work for the departments. We don't work for the government. Our paycheck comes from the taxpayers.
Do you have a recommendation?
I mean, that's all I wanted to say about that, but I think we need to sit on the development of the ad hoc until we fully learn what this is about, because it will affect what comes of it.
Mr. Chairman, is that not what you suggested?
Yeah.
Bring back next month? I'm sorry, but
Yes.
we're getting kind of late. We've got the committee
It is.
standing and citizens waiting in the hallway.
It is,
so.
but I do have to say though, and I appreciate that. I think that this committee, I think we want the best thing for the folks, and I really would like to just say that, you know, this is the best spot to request citizen input. I think it's the most responsible spot, and just say, hey, would you please email me, and I'm on the website, but jamie.teacher, or you can do the full commission. You can email any of us. It doesn't matter, and just request that this be something we consider. That why we would even need to consider that, and that's just all I'm saying, because I want to make sure the citizens are heard, and I want to make sure that everybody's represented the best way possible. So I mean, I think that's the only way to be fair, and I love what you said. I agree. I think I need to be questioned completely by the people, and so I believe that everybody should believe that if we're in government service. And so just to clarify that, please email if there's anything that anybody has a question about or a desire for a reason for an ad hoc committee, and then we can discuss it in the open next month or the month after, it doesn't matter, but we can figure that out. Yes, I'll let our attorney speak.
Just to be clear, we've got two separate animal control issues. So are you wanting this ad hoc conversation to stay under the report of the sheriff, or do you want it to be pulled out as new business for next month?
Okay, so we requested last month that it just can just stay underneath the sheriff's department. We can pull it out.
Hence my question.
So if you just pull it out, if you would, and
So new business.
Going forward with that, and then if you want to, I would just love. I know that there's been people asking me about the jails and what's going on with that. And I know those are under the sheriff's purview, so it would just be nice to have those
Well,
on
the
there.
reason I ask is we've also got the executive session on the contents of this folder.
Got it.
So that's gonna be a separate item as well.
Yes, and I'm not saying we're forming an ad hoc by any means.
I
just
understand
wanted
that.
to-
It's
this discussion.
deliberation about, or discussion about.
Yes, just what that
Ad
would
hoc,
look like, or
yes.
what would, if there's even
All
a
right,
need.
I just wanna be clear, it's two separate
I
things.
just want to give people time to prepare if they want to say something about it. Good.
To be clear, Mr. Chairman, I think also the people want the report of the sheriff's department still to include the report of the animal control
100% it
also,
will.
just to see numbers.
And jails and whatever
yeah,
else is
yeah,
under
yeah.
30, yeah, of course. Mr. Howard.
We seriously need to move on, but I don't want anybody here to be misled about anything that's said here. I have said before that we cannot tell a constitutional officer anything, and that's true.
It's true.
I don't think that I meant that we couldn't make suggestions or give oversight, but I don't want these people to be confused with city government.
Right.
City government it was the most frustrating thing for me to sit up here for 30 some odd years and be in county government, because it is entirely different from city government, where you can hire, fire, do whatever you want to. These people, such as the sheriff, the trustee, their offices, their employees, we can't do anything. Only that constitutional officer can. You can't fire them, you can't hire them, you can't do anything. And it does become at times very frustrating. However, I want you to understand that it's not like city government at all.
Mr.
And
Chairman,
at times it gets
with all
very
due respect, would you
frustrating.
direct it to me, if you would, just because I don't want to be disrespectful to your
No,
rules.
I am directing it to you, but I wanted these people to understand that what's being said and what I have said before is not to say that these people don't deserve oversight and that they don't deserve suggestions. But this body has no authority whatsoever over these people. There is nothing punitive that you can do. This man back here in the back, along with the other constitutional officers, according to the state, can sue us if we don't give them enough money, what they think is enough money. They can sue the county commission for more money, and a chancellor will decide whether they're right or not. So our authority is very, very limited with constitutional officers.
Appreciate that very much, because I think that's, and a lot of times we do get confused with city governments too, a lot, so, very good point.
With all due
Wait, was
respect.
anybody else in the queue on this side, just to make sure?
I think I was.
I don't want to jump
No,
ahead.
go ahead. If
No,
you're
I'm just
first, go
kidding.
ahead.
I was kidding.
Okay,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
With all due respect, and Commissioner Hyde may not know this, that statement was stated every single ad hoc control meeting, that we could not tell them what to do. Every single one, at least once. I want to remind everybody that although we cannot tell them what to do, animal control falls under the authority of the county, not the sheriff's department. It is only under the sheriff's department because we gave it to them. We can take it back from them if we decide to do so. So we can make suggestions, and if we don't like the direction it's going, we can vote to take it back. I'm gonna say that every time from now on that somebody reminds us that they're a constitutionally elected officer and we can't tell them what to do. I'm gonna say this every single time, because I'm getting tired of it. I think everybody in this room knows that part, because we, like I said, we heard it every single month. It became a threat, and people got tired of it. So I've had it with hearing that. We all know this. That's all.
Anything else, guys?
Mr. Chairman, can we move on?
Yes, I'm
Please.
ready to. I absolutely. Okay, so, report of EMA,
Nobody's here.
report of EMS,
Nobody's here.
report of ECC,
No one's here.
no old business, under new business, we're gonna talk about.
Motion to group approve.
Second,
Okay, are there any questions on what that's about?
I think, Mr. Chairman, all the information was in the packet,
Yeah.
and I think it's pretty self-explanatory, so.
It's the standard things every year, right?
Yes, it's standard. If there's anything that we're missing, I wanna make sure nobody spoke on it. I wanna make sure there's nothing missing. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and adjourn, guys. Thank you so much for your time.